Hello, Joy. How are you?
Hey Vicky, how are you? I'm good.
I'm doing well, thanks. What's it like over in Sydney?
Yes, it's quite late now. It's like 7 p.m. I just finished my food and my dog keeps knocking on the door. He wanted to come in.
Oh, cute. Well, we don't mind. I love pets, so that's cool. We've got people joining us from South Africa as well,
Oh,
so it's very international today, which I love.
that's amazing.
And yeah, the time difference was getting really confusing since sometimes I thought it would be super straightforward to organize that, but we were chatting yesterday and what showed on your screen was different to mine. But for anyone that's just joining, I am going to post a replay and to everyone in America who is still asleep, I would imagine. So we can get that sorted for them.
Yeah, so
So
usually in your time, daily time is gonna be like a bit late in Australia. So, but still
yeah,
okay, manageable. It's like 9 hours of difference. Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I remember when I used to live in Australia or even New Zealand, the difference is even more. Like trying to call home was always really, really tough.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be confusing, especially when the time is changing for like an hour earlier, then just have to manage it, figure it out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But I'm glad we're here and everyone's here. And I'm really glad that you decided to come live with us. So thank you so much. Hello, Gemma. So I'll just introduce a little bit about what we're doing today. So basically, I'm Vicky from the Fashion Business Coach, if you've not met me before. And each month I have a live with a special guest expert who's going to share something really important to them and that I think you're really going to enjoy. And the goal is really to help you discover new things, hear different perspectives, and find out what it's like with running a fashion brand and being sustainable and trying to do our part with all that kind of thing. And I'm super excited to have Joy here today, who is at a pivotal part, really, of your fashion startup journey, aren't you? So you're about to launch your brand and your Kickstarter campaign, and you're all about sustainability, recycled fishnets are part making up your fabrics, and you've worked really hard on that. And the collection looks amazing. So if people haven't seen it already, I'm definitely going to link to it so they can take a look. I mean, I'd love to know like what made you want to start this brand and what your inspiration was, really.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name's Joy.
Mhm.
I'm the founder of Another Active. So everything started back in the year of 2018. So right after I finished my study from a bachelor degree, I decided to travel around Australia in just in different cities. I really love traveling and I like doing different volunteering activities. It also sort of gave me an idea of what kind of value that I wanted to create, not just as a business, but as a person by myself. So I went to the Great Barrier Reef and
Beautiful.
I was so amazed. Yeah, it's so beautiful. By its amazing coral reefs, especially according to the guide, we got a lot of information about how important the coral reefs are to our ecosystem. However, while I was snorkeling, I found a part of them was actually terminally dying. And one of the reason is because of the climate change. And
Okay.
one of the reasons causing the climate change, a very important reason, and one of the most contributing industry is actually the fast fashion industry, which causing this tragedy. So that's where I realized that in the future, I might do something um, related to this and which also suits my passion as well.
Yeah.
So I actually from a bachelor degree of commerce background. So I
Okay.
did my study in
Mhm.
financial services industry. And after I graduate, I went to another master degree in
Wow.
management. Yeah, it's a lot of study. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna do another degree at this moment, but
Wow,
yeah,
really?
yeah, but just
Amazing.
so good, but no school anymore.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you done with that.
So I was sad. So after
Mhm.
that degree, I actually went to work in the major banks and in some insurance companies for like 2 years. However, during the last few years, COVID hits the world pretty hard, and I started to have more time for myself, and I wanted to really do something which suits my passion, which I really have a dream. When I was young, I wanted to become a fashion designer or
Mhm.
a fashion entrepreneur. So I did a lot of research and I went to different seminars to look for help. And I found a startup program. So I joined them. It's online. So the founder is from America. She's amazing. I love her. So she's kind of like my mentor of starting this journey. And it started from, looking for fabric supplier partner and then manufacturer partner and all the way to now that we're going to launch in July.
Yeah.
And of course, along the way, there are many different professionals helping me with this journey. And Vicky is also one of them. Your
Thank you.
strategy as well gave me a lot of encouragements.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to work with you. Like your idea is so good, and as like I said, if you haven't seen the products already, they're amazing. You can see how much hard work that you put into all of those. And you can understand why it takes so long to put a great collection together, because there's so much for you to think about.
Yeah, so apparently one of the things is because of COVID, everything got delayed.
Yeah.
So while I was sourcing different swatches for the fabrics, while I sourced it from different countries, like I got something from Taiwan, it's by a recycled plastic bottle, and then I got something from America, recycled plastic bottle, and then I got Tencel made fabrics locally produced
Nice.
in Australia. Then I ended up finding the current fabrics that we're using, which is made from recycled fish nets and ocean wastes. So it's produced in Italy and it has all the performance features that I was looking for. And it has beautiful colors. And one thing
The
very
colors are
interesting,
really pretty.
yeah, it's very shocking is it actually has a sleek finish, which I didn't realize up until I got the fabrics and I have a whole sample piece. Then I found out it's actually has a sleek finish. So every time I play with my puppy, it just doesn't. It's very easy to clean. I can just
That's good.
like clean it off my legs. Then my puppy's hair will just be gone. It's quite easy.
That's really good. I have a dog too, and I know his hair gets all over everything. So that's really, really
Oh,
helpful. And it's really good that you found a fabric that has all the performance features too, because I don't know if you found it difficult, but I know a lot of clients ask me about fabrics because the performance features tend to be very reliant upon like raw materials that are really bad for the environment. So being able to use a sustainable, at least recycled option is a really good way to still get those performance features. Because when it comes to activewear, we do need those features, because if the fabric's going to stretch out of shape and then the product can't be worn in a year's time, that's not very sustainable either. So we do have to think quite long term.
yeah, and usually for consumers, for customers, it can be a bit confusing while they're looking for the recycled fabrics. So
Yeah.
especially while I was looking for it, I mean, I need to find a supplier, a fabric supplier partner. So I usually just look at different certificates and indexes,
Yeah.
qualifications they're holding about, say, their dyeing process. Does that include any harmful chemicals? As well as the fabrics where it's made from, like what partners they're actually cooperating with to make those fabrics. So
Yeah.
that's very important to have those sort of certificates internationally for all of us to refer to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does take that little bit of detective work, so to speak, when you are a sustainable brand, because you can't just take a supplier's word on, oh, this is sustainable. You need to see some kind of, as you've done, see the certificates and understand, where the supply chain is and who they're working with. And actually,
Yeah,
Steph, who can't join us live, she's in the States, so she's asleep. She actually asked that exact question. She was really keen to know about the certification. So that's really good that we've answered that for Steph as well. And
yeah,
I see it more and more frequently where suppliers will just write sustainable or eco-friendly or something on their fabric, because it's like this cool kind of buzzword at the moment.
yeah,
So I definitely encourage anybody to do exactly what Joy's done and really look into exactly what the claim is, like what makes it sustainable, because often, unfortunately, people are just using it as a marketing word, and then as soon as you ask them about
yeah.
it, they freak out a little bit because they don't know, they don't actually understand sustainability at all.
Yeah, it's just getting so popular that everyone thinks that as long as they mention sustainability, and it's probably just going to be sustainability. And usually, the more sustainable products actually cost more. It's going to be more pricey
Yeah,
than say the normal products, the same alike products. So customers, if they don't do a lot of research or they don't see a lot of certificates, storytelling in their websites, like their sustainability involvement, it can be confusing. It can be
yeah.
just you managed by different companies to put it as a marketing word, like you
Yeah.
said before. Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes it super difficult for consumers. And that's actually what I love about the way that you've been doing your marketing, because you're very kind of educational about sustainability. So someone who has maybe just kind of heard it as a buzzword, you are explaining with the products like, this is why I'm saying this. It's not just you kind of written, oh yeah, it's sustainable, whatever that means. Like you've been really specific about it, which I think you have to be as a brand.
Yeah, I think it's very important, especially before I'm launching. Like I wanted people to know that the exact fabrics that I'm using and what are sustainable practices that I have been doing. Like for example, this morning I had a meeting with one of the major Australian volunteering organization, and I was just trying to figure out something that we can work together. I mean, we are still a small business and we are growing, we're improving, and we're trying to launch our first collection. But before launching, I wanted to say like what kind of involvement that we can have with, say, a volunteering organization,
Yeah,
whether we can donate part of our profits to that organization, or maybe in the future, because now it's pretty much just myself behind the screen.
yeah.
Well, I like going volunteering events, but in the future, I hope if I have a big team, well, I can also take my team members to engage in more volunteering activities. Yeah.
Amazing. And I think that kind of outside the box thinking is what people in sustainability need, because so many people will focus on the fabrics, for example, and definitely like fabrics is a really important thing to get right if you want to be sustainable. But you do need to look at the business as a whole, and like you've done, kind of thinking of ways to give back, or the way that you run your kind of day-to-day business operations. Because, like yourself, many people want to be a bigger business and have a team. So thinking
Mm.
about, are we going to be a paperless office? Do we want to do as much as we can digitally to like reduce that carbon footprint? And
Yeah.
also take that responsibility for kind of educating. So, right now you can't have you don't have a team that can go and volunteer, but kind of inspiring your audience, which is what I've really liked from your social media posts as well, like giving them kind of sustainability challenges and things to get involved with, has been really good for, I guess, raising awareness, but also encouraging people to take action as well.
Yeah, that's right. I think this is one of our main values as a business. So we do take activewear production very seriously. Like we are trying to make sure that every single production phase is as good as possible. But at the same time, we're trying to make the business as sustainable as possible as well.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I'd love to know. So, from the sounds of it, like back in 2018, when you kind of found out about the barrier reef and started to learn about sustainability, presumably before that, you kind of didn't have any understanding of sustainable fashion. And no judgment here, like it's, so well hidden, like what the fashion industry does. So,
Yeah.
was it kind of like this big shock when you started to research it? And what kind of things did you find out that really were shocking to you?
Yeah, definitely. When I just got started, I mean, I'm a millennial, and while I was studying, most of my friends are college students, and we were broke, and we really didn't think about too much about, especially purchasing sustainable brands. But I mean, a bit of education would be very useful, would be very necessary for us if there are a lot of ways for college students to live sustainably as well, not
Mm,
necessarily like buying new pieces from sustainable brands, but they can try different ways, like engaging in volunteering experiences, so they can tell their friends about that and have more realization of actively engaging in the sustainability practices, and as well as join the forces to, let's say, thrift store, secondhand
Yeah.
store, and just, or they can also rent their wardrobes. Like one of the company on Instagram I saw was doing really good. Like you can rent the whole look
Wow.
from that
Mm.
company, like for a few weeks, and they charge a weekly fee. It's like a subscription, so as long as you pay a weekly fee, you can rent anything from them. That's just amazing. I wish I could know it in
Mhm.
when I was in college. But
Mm.
yeah, along the way, especially when I decided to have this business, I actually had a lot more chances to get educated myself. Not just educating the audiences and followers who are interested in the products, but for myself, it's a learning process.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that's kind of evolving as well because there are like new materials available and new kind of strategies, I guess, for tackling waste and sustainability in general. So it is something that you can, I mean, even me, like being in the industry for like 16 years or something, which makes me feel super old. Like you can still learn something every day. Like every time I go to a sustainability event, like there's someone there pitching like a new idea for, sustainable living as an individual, or new materials for a business. So there's definitely loads of things that you can learn and keep learning, because right now, for anyone that's not aware, like we're not in a position to make clothes that are 100% sustainable. There's always going to be some kind of impact, but that is something that so many people, particularly scientists who we desperately need in this industry, are working on solutions for. So it's
Yeah,
definitely something to keep learning about.
yeah, it's just the industry is changing so much. Especially, the manufacturer that I am working with. So sometimes they send me newsletters of, while they have these new fabrics coming, it's made from say recycled bottles, and it's a different composition. And it might also feel good. I just feel like the technologies keep changing all the time, and as long as we keep learning, I mean, lifelong learning is a very important thing,
Yeah.
and we can so much about sustainable fabrics, about um, the new practices that's available. So that's amazing. I guess everyone has a dream. For all the entrepreneurs, we
Yeah.
dream really big. Like in the future, I wanted to create, say, intimates made from bamboo and tencel. I also wanted to make crop tops and dresses, but at the current stage, I'm just trying to go one step and then another step. So just try to make this sportswear as good as possible, to focus on every single detail. And then after this Kickstarter campaign, we're probably going to put our feet in other stuff,
Mhm.
intimates and other stuff. Yeah.
I'm smiling because I'm so happy that you've said that, because so many people want to start this collection. And this was actually another question from Steph. Like they want to start with like 20, 25 different styles in like 10 colors each. But when you're starting out, there's so much to learn about, the sampling process and working with a manufacturer. And a lot of people have full-time jobs or study on the side as well. Like if you
Yeah.
try and release so many things to begin with, you make your life incredibly difficult. There's just so much to do. And it's really easy to let things slip. So I think it's so much better to do what you've done and have a smaller collection and do it really, really well, and have the time and energy to focus on all the little details, rather than going too big and too broad and kind of things start to unravel a bit and the quality is just not where it should be. So that's definitely my advice to anybody. Whatever you're thinking of launching, you'll probably want to reduce it a bit, because most people come to me with like way too many things, and when we get to kind of the practical stages, they do tend to reduce it down quite a bit. So is
Yeah.
there, like, with those details that you've put in there, is that something that you've kind of developed over time, or did you start off thinking like, I want the, for instance, you've got adjusters, haven't you, to make it more flexible with the fit? Like, is that something that you thought of right from day one?
I think so. Yeah, from day one, I'm not thinking about having so many seasons
Yeah.
and so many collections in my activewear, especially for the first few years.
Yeah.
Well, I found a lot of fast fashion brands, actually they have like 52 seasons in 1 year. That's incredible. It's like every
Yeah.
single week a new season. And that's just, and a lot of fashion exhibitions and a lot of modeling stage, they just wanted compute the consumers to have more new pieces. They wanted to
Yeah,
introduce more seasons to the consumers. But for me, always from the beginning, from day one, I was just thinking that as long as we have limited pieces and we want to do it good, and especially because of the nature of our fabrics, it's from the recycled fish nets, and they have made like 150 tons from the volunteering activities. So they got all the fabrics together. So it's also limited.
yeah,
And for our first Kickstarter campaign, we're also only issuing limited pieces. So it's only going to be 800 pieces for the first release and first
yeah.
collection on Kickstarter. So as long as it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah. So getting there quick, everybody, because it's limited. And I think that makes it, so much more special when it's like a limited edition something. You're not gonna go to the gym or go to brunch or something and there's like 10 other people wearing what you've got. Like it is so much more special because of that.
Yeah, because we are shipping worldwide. We're shipping America, shipping to the UK, to Asian countries, as well as, of course, Australia is a major market.
Yeah.
So it's only 800 pieces in total. But yeah, probably after the sports bras and leggings, we probably have something else to offer. Still working on it.
Fantastic. Can't wait to see
Mm.
it. For anybody like watching this who's thinking maybe I want to start a brand myself, what's kind of the one big tip that you'd give them, or like the one thing that was surprising to you when you started this?
I think because I'm from a kind of a commerce background, a business background.
Mm,
So while I was working with a lot of office people. Like in our office,
mm.
we have 20, 30 people, and we chat all the
Wow.
time. We have corporate events, business events. It's very fun, a lot of social settings. But when I started to do this business, it's like one person job. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to do everything by myself, like social media, like building the supply chain, and also doing marketing and chatting with people online and offline. So I find myself really tired. So one of the biggest tip that I think for entrepreneurs are really try to delegate your tasks to the
Mm,
professionals. Like someone good at social media, you can probably ask an assistant to do it. And also just try to connect with people, both online and offline. Find that community of a group of entrepreneurs who are
mm.
inspiring by ideas, some of them might guide you through some processes. And you can also find really good friends from those communities.
Definitely.
Really hard.
Yeah, that's such a good tip and not one that a lot of people go with. So I'm glad that you've shared that because it can be quite lonely as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
If you are from a background where you've been in school, for the last 4 years, or you've been in a corporate job, there's always people to kind of bounce ideas off or, just ask a question, and it can be quite lonely. So having the community is really, really good. And some of my best friends now are people that I've met from entrepreneurship groups. And I definitely encourage for those of you who are in countries where you can go and do stuff, like to try and go to something locally in person. And there's not always a fashion specific one, depending on where you live. But for me, like one of the kind of biggest learnings that I had was from somebody who has a company where they rent trucks out and like this distribution company. So it's like so far from fashion, but just having the perspective of someone from a different industry was really helpful for me as well. So I think a mix of kind of fashion people and non-fashion people can be really helpful as well. So that's a really good tip. Thank you.
No worries. I like meeting people from like different industries and know their
Mm.
ideas. Some of them are so creative. Like last time I met a Japanese girl in an entrepreneurial event.
Mm.
She was making donut-shaped soap, handcrafted soap, and it's so
Wow,
cute to have that like sprinkles on top of it. And
cute.
it's really great to know people who can actually create stuff outside of your industry. So I totally
Yeah.
agree with what you. Mm.
Definitely. And even things like, I know you're very lucky to have a finance background, but that's not a strength for everyone. So even kind of connecting with people to kind of understand, well, what am I like finance wise? Like, do I have to register for this in this country and that sort of thing? Because it is, you know, particularly things like the boring stuff, like the taxes and the business registration, like it does change depending on where you are. So having just people to ask questions to like that, I think can be really helpful. And just nice to have that network so you don't feel like a lonely entrepreneur, which I definitely did at the start. And I think a lot of people can find it scary to sort of put themselves out there and maybe go to an event when they don't know anyone. But the majority of people are really nice. So I definitely
Yeah.
suggest to, you know, I'm such a scaredy cat, but I kind of force myself to go to these things. And the worst that can happen is, you know, you leave. Like that's the worst case scenario, or best case, you're going to connect with some amazing people. So I definitely
Yeah.
encourage people to give it a try.
Yeah, it's always good to be present. So first of all, just being present, and then might be something's gonna happen, gonna meet some good friends, or it's nothing at all, but it's a good experience, as always.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm so glad that you shared those tips with us. And I would have one other question for you, if that's okay, because I'd love to know about your Kickstarter and where we can find you and when it launches and all the details for that.
So we have already, after 1 year, more than 1 year of waits. I mean, some of our followers have been just asking me when your products are gonna release. After
That's
one
so
year,
good, though. That's such a
I
good
know.
position to be in.
I know, and some of my friends actually purchased some of the samples. Like I felt
Great.
so grateful of that. It's a great
Yeah.
help. It's a support. So we have done 3 rounds of testings, and the prototypes are ready to go. The Kickstarter events is going to be on live officially in 1 month time, which is first
Okay.
of July. So on first of
Exciting.
July. Yeah, everyone can make pre-orders. And by maybe this week, we're going to release the launching video and the launching photos.
I'm so excited to see that because I saw some kind of behind the scenes previews on your socials. So it looked like you had a really good day's filming. A couple of
Yeah,
days, what it was, wasn't it?
yeah, that was beautiful. So we choose a gym and also we went to the outdoor to shoot both gym and outdoor. And I love the quality of the photos and I can't wait to share everything on my social medias.
Yeah, I can't wait either. And yeah, so anybody who's just joining us at the end, I'm going to put that IGTV video up so you can catch this from the start. But Joy's put so much time and effort into developing this really amazing product that's really fun and colorful, but also really performance driven and sustainable and so much good stuff in it. So 1st of July is the launch date. And over on your website, actually, you have an email sign up where you've got some pretty cool kind of challenges and things going on as well, which I can link to as well for people.
Yeah, definitely. We have a 20-day action for having a healthier and happier life. So as long as they download
Fantastic.
sign up to our email list, they will be able to get access to all of it. It's an ebook with a 20-day action plan.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I still need to get mine actually. I've been talking about this with you for a long time. So I need to do that. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So I'll just ask, we still thank you for everyone that's joined and is here. If anyone has any questions before we wrap up, let me know. As I say, I'm going to put all the links below for Joy's Kickstarter and email list and all that good stuff. If you haven't checked it out already, make sure you do because the colors and everything are so beautiful. Anyone watching this who thinks, okay, maybe I want to give starting a brand a go, I've got a free masterclass that I'll link to as well, so you can kind of get some more ideas. But Joy shared some really good tips here on, you know, steps to take and the process, and hopefully that's been helpful for everyone. Looks like we answered all the questions as we went through, and yeah, all the ones that were sent in advance as well. Thank you to people that did that. They've been answered too. So is there anything else you want to share with us about the collection, Joy?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the launch on Kickstarter. So just stay tuned on our social media, Instagram or Facebook. I will keep updated.
Great. And yeah, I love your content. I know I've said this before, but it's really educational and action driven, which I like. I'm not the kind of person to want to just tell people about something and then they just kind of read it and don't do anything with it. So I love how action taken and action inspiring it is, which is really good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this. We'll definitely be keeping in touch because I really want to see your collection launch. And yeah, thank you for sharing your tips and for your time. And best of luck with the Kickstarter.
Thank you so much, Vicky. It's nice talking to you.
You too. And thank you to everyone who's joined. And I'll pop the replay on IGTV now for everyone who's coming in late. Thanks so much. Have a good day or a good night if you're in Australia.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.